What's up guys, Cali Sunset Gaming with you again, and today I'm going to show you how to emulate the tactics used by Pep in the 2010-2011 season with Barcelona to be able to use on your FIFA 20 career mode and online seasons. Let's get to it. Now, arguably, this is one of the greatest teams to ever grace the game. In the season that we're going to be analysing, they managed to walk away as Super Copa, La Liga and Champions League winners. So, a little history to this. Let's start with exactly how they lined up tactically. Barca set up with a 4-3-3 formation, the main aspect of the formation being ball retention. As an example, during the 2010-2011 season, Barca held an average possession of 60% across 38 La Liga games. The formation they used in all of these games was 4-3-3. This is something that all started from the keeper, with him being one of the main vessels of distribution. Short goal kicks would go to centre-backs, who would drop deep and wide, and then a ball would be played to a holding midfielder. If a team was to press, the keeper would be used as a sweeper almost, and essentially another outfield player, so you'd have the keeper, centre-backs and a defensive mid to play with when trying to move it up to the halfway line. Once it had moved past this point, it had reached two central midfielders. Not only that, but the left wing back and right wing back were also available for support. On top of this, the CDM had also stepped forward. I'll go into more detail about how to utilise the wing backs later on in the video. From the midfield, it would go to three attacking players, a centre acting as a false nine, coming deeper to act as that additional support if needed, and two wide players that had the instruction to free roam in the attacking third in order to create confusion in the back four, resulting in space. On the defence, the idea was to swarm the opposition, the assumption being that a high level of pressure would create more mistakes. With a packed midfield, the aim was to push the opposition down the flanks. Pep's thought being that he could utilise the sidelines as an additional man. What you'd be doing is leaving the opposition with less places to go to try and create space or an attacking opportunity. As a side note, a lot of the attacking play was actually channeled through the right wing back, Guardiola'S. He finished that season with 15 assists, just one of the many ways that Barca punished teams throughout the season. So, how do we emulate this in FIFA? What I'm going to show you is how best to adapt this style for FIFA. One difficult aspect is that you can't copy it like for like, because the formation and tactic system on FIFA isn't in depth enough. What I will show you is the best way to copy it and utilise it to the best of its ability, whether you're playing on career mode or online seasons. Just before we do a deep dive into the formation and the tactics, I want to remind you guys that even though I'm playing as Barca for this video, this is not specifically about the players you have. We're concentrating on the style of play. I'm not telling you to go out and buy all the best players, just focus on the setup and what the players are doing.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys the instructions as well as the tactics. So just a side note, please do ignore the players that are playing in this squad. This is purely just to show you how to emulate Pep's style in this video. So what I will do is I will now go through each player and give you the instructions that you need to apply to them. So starting in goal with the goalkeeper, we've got him as a sweeper keeper. So essentially he's very aggressive and he's going to be acting as that additional support when you are building from the back. What you want to do is have saving outside the box as sweeper keeper. Moving on to the centre backs now, you want attacking supporters stay back whilst attacking. What will happen is this means that they won't join the attack and instead they will sit incredibly deep, anticipating a counter attack and always being that option that is usually unmarked. Okay, onto the centre defensive midfield role, and what you want to do is change his attacking support to drop between defenders. What this will do is make him act as a centre back, and the two centre backs will actually push out wide, forming a defensive three. This is the style that Pep used to use so that he could overload the strikers, and then when he moved into midfield, the centre defensive midfielder would step up, acting as that additional man for when a midfield were trying to initiate an attack and push it on to the strikers. Now, I'm going to show you both wing backs and how they slightly differ. So earlier on in the video, I did mention that Guardiola'S actually finished the season with 15 assists in the 2010-2011 season. What we're going to do to try and emulate that is make this the main path of attack. So down this right side, we're going to have him attacking runs join the attack, run type as overlap. And what that means is that he'll stick out wide, but he'll also be going down as far as possible to that line, allowing the winger in front of him to cut inside. Not only that, it's going to be a perfect opportunity for you to be able to get balls in the box. Now, with your left wing back. Instead of the attacking runs matching how your right wing back is, just have that on as balanced. So you don't necessarily have to have him on every attack, but what this will do is make him incredibly neutral, mainly staying back, but every so often making that forward run. The run type is the same. What you want to do is you want to make him overlap. So in that case, he's allowing the winger that's in front of him to cut inside. Now, as we move on to the central midfield roles, this is where they slightly differ from what you would expect. So looking at the formation, what you believe is standardly they're both sitting as centre midfielders. This is incorrect. So what we do is we have the player on the right acting as a centre midfielder, but the player on the left is slightly more aggressive and his role is set as centre attacking midfielder. So when you're on the formation setting and you're hovering over him, what you can do is you can press square, move him slightly forward and then set him as a centre attacking player. But first we'll stick with the centre midfielder. So you want him as a balanced attack and you want to make sure that his support on crosses is balanced, normal interceptions, and you want him sticking to the position, and his defensive positioning is to mainly ensure that he's covering the centre. This way he's going to be additional support for your centre defensive midfielder when defending. The attacking midfielder instructions are ever so slightly different. So basic defensive support and the support on crosses are being balanced as well. Also position freedom, sticking to position, and his positioning freedom, you want him to stick central. Obviously, because he's a centre attacking midfielder, there's not going to be a major defensive option for him in terms of how he's going to track back. So what you want to do is just make sure that you make him stick to position so that central aspect of the team is secure. What you will have is you will have a centre attacking midfielder, a centre midfielder and a defensive midfielder, as well as two centre backs that begin to close in. That way, it's almost impossible for a team to break through the middle, forcing them to go wide, which is the main target. Like I said previously, Pep's idea was that the sideline would act as an additional man. So what you want to be doing is continuously trying to jockey players to go out wide. Moving forward now, we are on to the winger instructions. So these are the same. Chance creation, we've set this to free roam, and this is the same for the left wing as it is for the right wing. The reason that it's free roam is, like I mentioned previously, you're going to be wanting the players to try and mess up how the defence are creating the man marking situations. You want them to be moving about as much as possible, and that way what they can do is generate more opportunities by being available, by having the opportunity to move about. Not only this, but the support runs you want them in as get in behind. The reason for this is not only are they going to be able to come short, but their main aim is going to be to try and break against the offside trap and try and get in behind to be able to provide for the other winger or the striker that's bursting into the box. On top of that, it's important to remember that you are also going to have the centre attacking midfielder joining the support too. With the striker, it's a little bit deceptive. So even though he's acting as a striker, the attacking runs you want him to act as a false nine. The reason for this is because what he will do is he will come deep to get the ball from midfield. As a result, you've got a centre attacking midfielder that can then initiate tick-attacker with that striker. Not only that, but you're going to have the two free roaming wingers that are going to be options for them as well. The target here is to have as many options as possible, initiate tick-attacker so you can maintain possession at every part of the pitch, make the ball do the work, and then wait for that opportunity to break through and score a goal. Okay, so moving on to the tactics, we will start off with defence. So what you want to do is set it to pressure on heavy touch. Now you can see the little description of pressure on heavy touch above. Now in terms of the style of play, what this means is the players will slowly start to close down where the ball is located. This style of play is giving the players less opportunity to think when they're on the ball. They're not having the opportunity to get their head up and find an option. As a result, this can lead to an exchange of possession very high up the pitch, and sometimes a counter-attack ensues. Taking into account the fact that you've got free roaming wingers as well as a centre attacking midfielder and a striker, if you win the ball in the final third of the pitch and the defence is caught off guard, you really can make them pay. Probably not something that is going to surprise any of you. In terms of the width, you want it as closed as possible. Like I've reiterated many times in this video, what you want to do is maintain the concept of pushing the opposition out to the wings. That's where you'll get them to make the mistakes, using the sideline as that additional support. You don't want the team sitting too deep, because that'll just give the opportunity for the opposition to take more shots from range. Instead, this depth sort of puts you around about in the middle of the field. You've got 3 defenders who always sit back in the 2 centre backs and the centre defensive midfielder, and on top of that, because of the volume of players that you have sitting in midfield, a lot of the times that you win possession, you'll find it is actually taking place around the centre circle. Moving on to offensive style, surprise surprise, it's possession, because that's how tiki-taka works. When you're on the attack, you want the width to be much wider than what it is when you are defending, which is pretty much standard with any sort of way that a team lines up. Ask any manager worth his weight in salt, and you're always going to be compact when you're on the defence, and usually try and break out when you do go on the attack, equaling more width. All you have to do is knock this width section up to 6. That'll give you enough space to be able to utilise the wingers, the wing backs, as well as a crammed midfield with 3 to 4 players in there at any given time, and give you more than enough options to be able to make the opposition pay by conceding a goal. The players in the box, you just want that as average, not too many players cramming into the box. As a result, you could get caught on the counter attack, so just stick that at 4. For corners and free kicks, it's purely down to how you feel comfortable. Obviously, the more players that you've got in the box for corners, the more chance you've got for scoring, but I seem pretty comfortable with 2, so I'd probably stick with that. It's the same with free kicks as well.
Next up, I want to tell you guys straight off the bat that you may watch videos from other YouTubers that say because of the high press style that I described in the formation, that players will get tired. Not to trash any of those guys, mainly because they've all got more subscribers than I have, but this just isn't accurate. Pep's whole ethos was make the ball do the work, and it's something that nearly every top flight manager has adopted since. Tiki-taka is the aim. Hold L1 before passing, and it initiates a pass and move from the player that's holding the ball. This is a vital aspect of how the formation works in the attacking sense, and should be used whenever a player from the front 3 is making a pass. The main aim here, no matter what, is keep the ball, tie the opposition, and use the pockets of space to your advantage when they eventually appear. And trust me, they'll appear. I need to throw a disclaimer in here as well, because I feel like a lot of people are going to be watching this video, implement the style, then comment on it saying, I lost a game. The formation and style of play doesn't mean you're unbeatable. It just means that for a style of play you can maintain high possession and brutalise the opposition much easier than if you were to engage in an attack versus attack game. The difficulty with doing an attack versus attack is it usually comes down to who has more luck during the 90 minutes, and sometimes that ain't going to be you. If you want to take that risk, that's fine, but surely you'd want to be in a position where tactically you line up to put the odds in your favour. I think it's important to mention here that when Pep used this formation in 2010-2011, most of the teams that he played against were actually using a 4-4-2. These days, most of the teams you're going to come against, regardless of the league that you're in, use some sort of 4-3-3 mutilated formation in some sense. This isn't to say that the tactics won't work against a 4-3-3 formation, it just means that you won't be able to overpower the opposition as easy as you would if they were playing a 4-4-2. And trust me, it's going to become real evident how powerful this formation and tactics really are when you do line up against a team playing 4-4-2. So now I'm going to tell you exactly how you want to be playing when you're controlling the players. To start, you want to begin from the back. Rely on the keeper to have great distribution. Much like in real life, eventually mistakes are going to be made. The thinking here is that over time, mistakes are going to be so few that over the course of the season, they don't really mean anything. The defenders will naturally push wide, wing backs will step up, and your CDM will sit in the middle. From here, you can try and play through the middle, or you can use the wings to take advantage of the opposition. Your main wing of use being the right, where you've got the right wing back in a more aggressive position. Use the options available to you to play in whichever gaps you see, whether that be into the centre or backwards across the back 4 to move to the other wing. One of the things you'll find a lot with this formation, as did I, is sometimes before in my other teams, I'd just be reluctant to do a back pass, as if passing it back would mean that I'd be losing my opportunity to score a goal. With this formation, it's the opposite. As long as you retain the ball, if you pass it back and maintain short, concise passing, it will draw the opposition out. That's just going to leave more opportunity for your attacking players to find that pocket of space to be able to make the opposition pay. You will find yourself doing this a lot when you play against defensive teams. They're happy to sit back and try and catch you on the counter, but because the formation is so compact, even when they're trying to do that, they're going to revert to going down the wings. This is going to play directly into your hands. Other teams will take time to wear down, but you're just looking for that moment. And with the combination of your attacking wingers being able to free roam and your attacker going forward from a false 9 role, it will eventually come. When getting crosses in from the wings, use low crosses. And remember that a lot of players will charge into the box, so keep an eye out for that unmarked man, such as that striker that's playing from the false 9 role, or the centre attacking midfielder. Some teams will have success to closing on your goal, and depending on the team that you're playing against, they could be open to a counter-attack. Again, your wingers being able to free roam and pick space will allow you to find that defence splitting pass. When defending, as I said before, you want to try and jockey the players out wide. Naturally, your formation's going to push players wide because that's where the space is. On top of this, most teams these days, like I said before, play with a 4-3-3, so that will actually play right into your hands because them going wide is their play style. The biggest thing I can say here is that you are going to concede goals. In time you will concede less, but you will still concede. The important thing here is not to revert back. Believe in the system. Oh, I feel like this is some sort of like Pep Guardiola propaganda. Anyway, when conceding in a game that you're dominating, it will be hard not to just relentlessly attack hoping to score, but keep the style intact, build the momentum, and your chance will come. The more the opposition press, the more space is going to be for your players to pull off those quick 1-2 passes. I can't express how many times the opposition have tried to chase the game after conceding, and as a result ended up conceding 2 or 3 in quick succession. To end this video, I'm going to show you some of the plays that have taken place so far in the season that I'm playing using this formation and tactics.
Great play from the attacker. Keeper's ball. It's with De Jong. Just the feeling about La Liga and Barcelona. Barcelona and Real Madrid sometimes told that they only have easy games to play apart from the Clásicos. But that's not the case at all, is it? There's some tremendous competition in this league.
Well, they're the team that everybody wants to topple, aren't they, along with Real Madrid and...
Griezmann! Well, that's the opener, and it's been coming. The better side, but you have to score when you're on top. We wondered whether they would do that, but they have done, and they've done it in fine style.
This is Vidal. The ball with Junior Firpo here. Well, sitting deep like this might be a dangerous game. Messi. It's got to be. And it's in. A goal for Barcelona. They are the team in charge.
It's Messi's corner. The keeper chooses to punch. Griezmann, Jordi Alba, Frankie de Jong, Semedo. Now it's Suarez. The chance is here. The coach promised a fast start. And look what's happened. You've seen that goal, and it's really been coming right from the kickoff.
Thank you for checking the video out, guys. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy it, make sure that you leave a massive like on this video, as well as hit subscribe for lots more content like this. If you've got any thoughts on the video, make sure you leave them in the comment section below. On top of that, what I did want to say is that if you've got any other managers that you would like me to analyse, make sure you leave those in the comments. I appreciate you guys checking out this content, and I will see you guys next time on Cali Sunset Gaming.